Film. Let me talk to you about film and theater. There are so many different types of genres that I actually never thought about. I always just went to the movies and based off if it sounded interesting or funny, and I had no idea that there are actually two different types of comedy, which is farce and satire, if you can't really remember. There's also the big production process. I had an idea about the production process from my many years of dancing and performing, but I never really realized how much work is actually put into the show. I was just kind of showed up for dress rehearsal, did my thing, and the assistant stage managers and crew just always did the lighting for us and set the props in and everything. I never had an idea of like how much work actually went into making the costumes and the props and stuff. So when we were discussing film and theater in class, I finally kind of realized how much work the designers put into the show by making the costumes and the props and the sets, etc. And before this class, I had no idea what a strike was, and then I finally learned that it was taking down the entire set, which is such a sad process, and saying bye to such a fun time.
Strike two!
I also never realized how hard acting is, and all the little details along with it. I just kind of always analyzed it as if it was good or bad, and how I felt after watching like a really funny movie or whatever. But they actually have to like articulate their words while projecting out so the audience can hear like way in the back, and they have to study every little aspect about their characters, like the physical and emotional and sociological and ethical aspects. And then on top of all this, I had no idea how many different types of theaters there actually were. I just always thought like, that stage is small, or that looks different and weird. But there's a proscenium, which is like the most common type of theater. There are thrusts, and then there's hybrids, which is like a combo between the two. And then the last two different types of theaters that we talked about are arenas, which is like theater in the round, and then there's black boxes, which are my favorite. That's pretty much about it for theater and film.
Strike three! You're out!
And cut!
Okay, so when I thought of music, I for one just thought of like the lyrics to the songs that I sing along to very loudly in the shower and in the car. But now I actually like pay attention to the different lines of music, like the unity, the variety, in the melody and the harmony. But most of all, I never really thought about music, especially like classic music, as a journey towards a goal, like a book or something. The importance of the harmony kind of surprised me. I thought harmonies were like the awkward little sidekick, like Robin to Batman or something like that. But the harmony's like where it's at, because it's what drives the whole piece of music, the chord progression, and just like the vertical nature of the harmony. Are what creates like progression and tension and the resolution, which is my favorite part in music. So this insight into the structure of music and compositions gives me a lot more appreciation than I've ever had for composers. Like, not only do they have to decide like what music they're playing, they have to like strategically choose every note, every instrument, and every use of like additional dynamics. And that's pretty hard work. Like, it's not like Beethoven was just sitting around on his bench all day. Okay. Do you want to know something cool?
Yes.
Why did Beethoven kill all his chickens?
I don't know. Why?
Because they kept saying, "Bach, Bach, Bach."
Didn't.
Painting. Alright, so a focal point is like something that I would never really notice in a painting or even in a sculpture. It would just be there. And right now it's pretty interesting the way I can actually notice and tell where my eye is drawn to. And I just think that's a really good material that I taken from this class. And then such as the line and texture, the different kinds of texture and line, how can a line like create sort of a movement, and how can a texture also imply texture, create this like the idea that it is something that has mass. We can understand it even though we can't really touch it or see it, unless if it's in a three-dimensional figure, which would be sculpture. And then we have the shape and mass. We have the two-dimensional area, and the mass is the three-dimensional area, which is like solid and we can see it and touch it, which normally are not paintings, but yes, sculpture. Okay, so then we have the light and the color, which I find it very interesting the way sometimes natural light can sort of create color depending on where it is, and it's very interesting. Definitely grabbed my attention to it, and it's something that I definitely took up from this class. That is very interesting. And then the colors that can be primary or secondary also, when they're mixed together, they create a really big contrast, but they can also have this huge impact on the painting or sculpture that changes the viewer or observer perspective about not only the painting but even the world itself. And yeah, I just think that was all interesting, the way the different elements mix it up together to just create one big and beautiful thing that right now I can observe, and it's very, very interesting. That's painting, sculpture.
So I wanted to share with you guys kind of the most important thing that I got out of this class. When I was 5, I asked my mom, "Mom, can I watch Bob Ross?" She said, "Girl, why do you want to watch Bob Ross?" And I said, "Mom, if it weren't for his hair, I probably wouldn't care, but the man's got some powers when he's painting all them flowers." And that's why I wanted to watch Bob Ross. But now I've taken FA 207 and I see Bob Ross like an angel come from heaven. That man's got some skill when he's painting every hill. The lines draw me in, composition for the win. He's using just a sponge, contrasting more than grunge, but it's balanced.
Clouds,
Hills,
foreground,
Trees.
background.
Balanced. So now I see these trees dropping all their leaves, and all I think is organic.
Organic is a line.
rhythm, it's a rhyme.
So thank you, FA 207, for giving me the impression that Bob Ross is more than his hair, and art is something about which to care.
Yeah.
Holla at me. We're out.